remarkable finish.
Burke goes for the corner and Leah Burke's in. And it's Tamsin Renew. The pass from Holly Dodd.
And this could be the first goal of the game because London are going to get them and touch down. He's gone for the same ball and it's going to work.
Beautiful.
They might score the winner. And North Wales have another.
Brings it up to the line, drops it off to Hazard, who reaches through. Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Sportsman. Brilliant to be back with more live rugby league on a rainy Sunday afternoon here in Wakefield, but a game I'm sure is going to produce the goods. Nevertheless, from the Betfred Championship, Wakefield Trinity, they've got that League Leaders Shield already in the trophy cabinet. Of course, they come up against the York Knights side, who are absolutely flying. 5 wins in a row, 10 wins over their last 13 games. Paul Rowley, 80 minutes of entertainment on the way.
Yeah, absolutely, and in Wakefield, obviously they're on their own ground and they've had a fantastic season. It looks every bit the Super League team in waiting, doesn't it? And but you know, they're coming up against a York side that look like they enjoy the rugby, and that makes them a dangerous proposition. They've won the last 5 games, they're in good form, and then there's the added ingredient of the ex-Wakefield coach who's leading them from the top now. So it should be a really entertaining game.
Yeah, 2 teams in fine form as we approach the important end of the season. Playoffs on the horizon, of course. Mark Applegarth and the York Knights trying to make sure that they are in the conversation at the end of the season. It's all set up for a belter here at the DIY Kitchen Stadium. Let's hear from both head coaches, Mark Applegarth and Daryl Powell. Daryl, thanks for joining us. A real tough test for your team today. York come into this in fantastic form, as of course to your side. We should have a really entertaining 80 minutes of rugby league before anything else.
Yeah, I think so. You know, they're going really well, York. We haven't played them for a fair while, played them in round 4, so we get a look at them in much better form than they were back then. There'll be a real challenge for us. For us, just keep doing what we've been doing. You know, we've been in pretty good form ourselves, so conditions will dictate a little bit today, but almost grand final weather, I think.
Yeah, every time we have Wakefield on the Sportsman, the weather seems to do this. You've had the kind of luxury of being able to rotate, but I guess, is it a kind of tricky period for you to negotiate at this point? League Leaders Shield in the bag, but you want to make sure you head into those playoffs kind of full of, you know, head full of steam and full of momentum.
Yeah, momentum's pretty important, but we've been able to sort of roll players in and around without making wholesale changes, you know, so I don't see it as a big problem. You know, we've given some of our senior boys a week off here or there, and we're getting some players back now who've been out for a while. Isaiah Vangenaar, for example, who's been out for 12 weeks. He's back in there. Caleb Welly plays today, so yeah, it's a good opportunity for us to build towards obviously the most important part of the season.
You mentioned your senior lads. Obviously, one of your players, Jermaine McGilvery, announced his retirement at the end of the season this week. Just a word from you on what he's done and what he's been like in your group this year.
Yeah, well, he's an entertaining character. You know, he's a great guy. Always has a great sense of humour. Very knowledgeable about the game, and then he does what he does on a rugby field. You know, he's pretty strong and aggressive, and he's been doing that for years and years. Been phenomenal for us. You know, I think as all our backfield boys have been class. You know, Darrell Alford has played well, and Lachlan Walmsley. They've all been really solid, and he's been a big part in what we've done this year.
Obviously, at home today, a home semi-final in the bag. It will be a home grand final should you get that far. How important is it that you've been able to turn this place into a fortress and make this a really difficult place to come?
Yeah, well, we always know that this year was going to be, you know, a period of resetting and growth and development, and you know we've been great in that regard. I think we've obviously dropped down to the champ, and it's been interesting and tough, but we've been fantastic. I think the boys have been outstanding. The club's been class in backing what we've wanted to do, and then this place is looking so much better, and you know it's just going to keep growing. The owner, Matt Ellis, and his family have been absolutely amazing in supporting everything about the club, and yeah, there's a real buzz around the place, and we hope to carry that through.
Well, best of luck today, mate.
Thank you.
Mark, this place looks a little bit different probably to how you're used to it. The weather's the same though. You looking forward to being back, and a tough challenge for your side today?
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. Obviously, taking me aside from it, it's a bit of a different ground to when I first left it, but I think more importantly, it's got all the makings of a good game. Obviously Wakefield top of the league, league leaders, and rightly so. You know, probably the best team in the league by a bit at the moment, and obviously we're wanting to get in them playoffs. So great test for us, one we're looking forward to.
The squad numbers kind of on your team sheet alone tell a story of how much adapting you've had to do this year and how tough you've had it at times. But you come into this in outstanding form over a couple of month period now. There must be a real confidence amongst this group.
Yeah, I think that's key word is confidence and not arrogance. You know, we're under no illusions too that you know, we'll be coming up a different quality of opponent today. You know, I think we've had some really good wins, some gritty wins, but we'll be getting tested in ways we probably haven't been tested over the last few weeks. So it'll be a good chance for us to, you know, to come up against the league leaders and see how much progress we've made. And ultimately, we need the 2 points. You know, we need to get ourselves in them playoffs. You know, and we've got 3 games to do that, and Wakefield's who we're focusing on this week.
Yeah, does it feel like it kind of goes up a gear now? Only a few games left, as you mentioned, those playoff places well up for grabs. Is there a kind of different mentality to weeks like this? I
think every week's been massive for us. I think we were second from bottom when I first came in, so obviously as first aim was to make sure we're out of them relegation spots. And as we progressed, we realised that we could have a good crack at getting in the playoffs, and our aim's not changed. So we're just going week by week, you know, and seeing where that takes us.
You're going to be playing on an absolute carpet, but as we've mentioned, it is raining pretty heavily. Does that kind of affect the way you approach it, affect the tactics of this one?
Not really. It's same for both teams, isn't it? So I don't think when you're playing on these modern surfaces there's too much to worry about in terms of the pitch. It's more just your own skill execution and composure there. So yeah, it's got all the makings for a good game and one we're looking forward to.
And of course, if you do make it into those playoff places, these are the kind of games you're going to be playing in, these kind of environments. Is this almost the perfect time to have a game like this?
Yeah, well, yeah, you've got to play everyone to win it, haven't you? So it'll be a good test for us, as I said, a good benchmark. You know, Wakefield, they've been rotating these last few weeks, so they'll want to start putting a bit more settled team out now and build their own momentum going into the playoffs. So, you know, as I said, it's got all the ingredients for a good encounter. We've just got to make sure that we play the game and not the occasion, and just focus on ourselves and what we need to do.
Well, best of luck today, mate.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
Nice one. Two coaches who have their teams in fine form, and let's have a look at the sides that they are putting out this afternoon. And the Wakefield Trinity, the home team, of course, coming into this lineup with Max Jowett at fullback and Jermaine McGilvery for Patif back in. He begins his farewell tour, of course, having announced his retirement during the week. Daryl Olfert on the opposite wing with Ian Thornley and Oliver Pratt inside them in the centres. It's a half-back pairing bursting with experience, of course, Luke Gale and Liam Kay, and they are playing behind a pack that is fronted up by Josh Bowden and Renu Fatoni with Thomas Doyle in the hooker position, and Matty Ashurst and Josh Griffin in the second row with Jay Pitts locking in the pack. And on the interchange bench, Lachlan Walmsley, Caleb Welle, Kai Rodwell and Isaiah Vagana will provide the reinforcements for the home team this afternoon. They line up against the side, 5 wins in a row. Joe Brown starts at fullback for the York Knights. He's got Tom Lynham and Brad Ward on the wings with Ollie Field and Joe Law inside them in the centres. It's a half-back pairing of Nikau Williams and Atta Hingano with Ronan Michael and Jack Martin fronting up the pack with Will Jubb at hooker. And a second row pairing of Connor Bailey and Jacob Gannon with Jordan Thompson locking in the pack. And Jack Teamby, he's joined by Brendan Santi, Josh Daly and Bailey Antrobus on the interchange bench for Mark Applegarth, Yorkside. Paul, we've gone through the teams, we've had a look at the form. 2 teams coming into this full of confidence. Every reason to expect we're going to get another really good game here on the Sportsman.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at the Wakefield team in particular, they've got so much balance across the starting 13 in particular there, with a couple of strong wingers who's going to take some handling and do a lot of good work for Wakefield, no doubt, coming out of backfield. But for me, what interests me about Wakefield's team is the size of the bench, in particular with Rodwell and Vagana. They are 2 big boys who are very, very good players, and I expect them to make a massive difference when they come off the bench. So it's a really strong side put out from Wakefield. And you know, with York, and their form, their strength at the moment is the confidence. And like I said before, the kind of carefree attitude that they've got, they look like they're enjoying the rugby very much so, which makes them a dangerous proposition. So I think this is just the type of challenge that they will relish. And with Atta and Garner in the halves there, he's got a huge battle up against Luke Gale, so that'll be a tasty one for sure.
And we mentioned it to Darryl Powell. Big news, of course, this week. Jermaine McGilvery announcing his retirement. A glittering career. Just how good has he been over a really prolonged period of time?
Well, I think the mark of a good player at any level is consistent player. And Jermaine McGilvery has been consistent from the day he first put his boots on, whether that was playing at Batley on loan or Barrow on loan. If you remember them early days, I certainly do. And then obviously he's had such a long and distinguished career for both Huddersfield in particular and obviously the country as well. So you know, he's finishing off now at Wakefield in a season that's going to see them you know, get back where they need a reset season for Wakefield. So he's been very instrumental and he's been a consistent player for a long and distinguished career. So yeah, he'll want to finish on high, that's for sure.
And it's an interesting little period this for Wakefield. Obviously they've got first place in the bag, the League Leaders Shield. We lifted it a couple of weeks ago. They've got a few weeks until we get into the playoffs. How do you kind of keep that momentum up, keep that intensity up if you're Darryl Powell?
Well, the one thing they have got is competition in the squad, and they all want to play and they all want to earn contracts, because this club's got bigger and better things in the future, not too distant future. So everybody's hungry and motivated for slightly different reasons, whether it's retention, whether it's to earn a contract, or whether it's to just simply be in the team and be a part of the big games. Obviously the big games are at the end of the season, and that's where we're at now. So I don't think they'll have any issue in motivation amongst this squad. Throw into that, again, it's been mentioned a couple of times, but there's a lot of experience in there who's been in big games and knows what it looked like. And like I said with Jermaine, referencing earlier, that good players are consistent players, and this team has got a lot of good players in it, Wakefield Trinity.
From a York perspective, we're almost already playing knockout rugby with the way that league set that table is, and the playoff places the way that they are. They're coming to this in, as we've mentioned, really, really good form, but this is a game, again, an interesting time for them, playing the best team in the league, undoubtedly so far, but needing those 2 points and needing to put performance in.
Absolutely, and you know, we spoke a lot about Wakefield, and rightly so, but because they are the consistent team. But York, they've had a lot of change over there. They've changed the coach mid-season, obviously Endo leaving and Mark Applegarth taking over and doing a fantastic job since then. I think the last loss was away at Halifax, and again, since then they've been really consistent. And they've got some fantastic players there on edges who can, certainly on their outside backs as well, with the experience of Tom Lynham in there in particular, who can really, you know, get over the try line, strong ball carriers, and some experience in there as well with Will Jubb, who's must have clocked up some games now in the Yorkshire. He's been fantastic and a probing hooker for them for so long. So again, no pressure on York. They can see this as a free hit. And it's one of those that, like we said before, they're in good form, they're confident, they're enjoying what they're doing, and no pressure. So that makes them a dangerous opposition. And I guess Wakefield will want to really start strong and build pressure and you know, let York know who the team are that's you know, he's expecting. There's a reason why they're favourites. So yeah, I expect a tough and fast and fiery start, in particular from Wakefield.
Well, atmosphere building here at the DIY Kitchen Stadium is very different to how we're used to seeing it, of course. Fantastic, the redevelopment work that's gone on here, not just on the field as they rebuild in the championship, but off it as well. A fantastic new main stand, as you can see across from us here. And it seems like a supporter base that's really bought into this team as well, and what they're trying to achieve as they aim to get themselves back in the big time. But as far as this afternoon is concerned, as the teams enter the field, Wakefield Trinity against the York Knights, Betfred Championship action, live and exclusive here on the Sportsman. It's the start of playoff season, not quite knockout football yet, but York very much needing those 2 points to make sure they're in the playoffs. And Wakefield looking to keep that momentum up, that form up that they've had all season. Just the one defeat in the league, and a defeat in the Challenge Cup, of course, which we brought you live and exclusive here on the Sportsman a few months ago. That was a pretty rainy day that day as well, Paul.
Oh yeah, it seems such a long time ago, doesn't it? Since we last looked at Wakefield over at Featherstone that day, and on a torrid day in terms of conditions. This is a little bit of drizzle going on. It's overcast, but I can tell you what's crossed the pitch a couple of times. It's a wonderful surface. The groundsman's done a fantastic job. They've put money into it. They've invested in the whole stadium, but the pitch in particular is a fast track. It's firm and it's conducive to some good open and fast rugby from these two sides.
Yeah, speaking to Darryl Powell before the game, he said that defeat to Featherstone in March did them good in the end. It made a few players stand up and realise what this level is like. And they've been pretty much perfect ever since, just that one defeat to Toulouse. Apart from that, it is the Wakefield side who have done very little wrong this season. But of course, this is the time of year where it matters. 6 games in 6 weeks here on the Sportsman. We are underway. Wakefield kicking from right to left on your screen. York will get first taste of the football. And we're up and running here in the Betfred Championship. Wakefield's line speed looking keen straight away as York just keep it tight for the time being, working through these early plays. And again, they'll just come to this right-hand edge, just one pass in the play. They look to get themselves into a decent kicking position early on in this first set of the game. Judd brings us out to the left-hand side, and they'll kick early on in the set. Ngarno putting the kick over the back, but well dealt with by Max Jowett. He brings it back up towards halfway, but he's forced back by a keen York Knights defence. Good kick chase from them. So Kay from dummy half gives it to McGilvery, who carries strong against 3-4 defenders. Decent speed on the play the ball as well, and then his opposite winger Daryl Olferts makes the next carry. So Wakefield's 3-quarter line getting involved early on and making some decent progress. Already up to that York 40, and again they come to the right hand side. Better defence in that occasion from York, just stopping the run. This is Liam Kay. He drops it off to Josh Griffin on the inside line. He brings it up towards the 20 where he stopped 24 metres away, and this is the last tackle. So first opportunity of the game for Wakefield to put an attacking kick in, and Luke Gale puts a high one up. Dealt with well by Tom Lynham, who just rides the tackle, but he's buried deep inside his own half, right in the corner. So Wakefield turning the ball over exactly where they want to, Ross.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a really controlled start from Wakefield. The first defensive set, both Bowden and Natoni bending the backs and really presenting a solid defensive line for Wakefield. That meant they got the ball in good field position and then finished with a great attacking kick. And as you can see now, third, fourth play and really struggling to make metres. So physically very dominant in the first exchanges, Wakefield, and that's a concerning sign for York.
Yeah, York really struggling already to make metres. We saw the kick early in that set. That may be a tactic we see a bit of throughout this game, given the conditions, but this is the last, so the kick will come from inside their own 20. It's Ngarno again who puts it in the air. Olferts and Jowett just running towards each other. Olferts in the end takes control and brings it back towards the halfway line. So Wakefield again starting this set in reasonable field position. Luke Gale at dummy half. He'll just give it to Ollie Pratt, who strong carry, but he's met well by the York defence. And McGilvery is the next cab off the rank. He brings it up over the 40. Met by Roden Michael. Jacob Gannon for York, and now it's Gale up to the line and Jowett injecting some pace. Pratt again getting involved. He drips it off to Renner for Tony, strong carry 11 metres away from the line. This is the last. They come out to the left-hand side. Gale will just stab a kick through, and it's bobbling around, and in the end, Joe Brown just takes a safe option, boots the ball dead. It'll be a goal line dropout.
Yeah, again, really disciplined from Wakefield. They're happy to just keep turning the ball back under and really working over the York defenders. Like I said before, we've got two wingers like they have, then it'd be foolish not to use them. They're making three-man tackles to bring them down. It's expending a lot of energy from York. It was actually Nico that come up with a poor kick for York, right foot kick, didn't get any yardage at all. And yeah, it results in York being under tremendous pressure early in this game.
So back underway with the dropout, which goes up to the 40-metre line where Jarrett collects, and then he just gives it to Josh Bowden, who fires that in fantastic field position as Pitt at loose forward. He gives it to Renner for Tony. He plays it just short of the 20-metre mark, and they come out to the right-hand side through Liam Kay. Now Josh Griffin just poking his nose through the line. He's brought down just over the 10 metres, so Wakefield banging on the door here. Luke Gale barking the commands at his side, and it's to that left edge that they come, but Jay Pitts to the line. Really good line speed from York on that occasion. It was Jowett who found himself with nowhere to go. So Wakefield forced back to the 10, but still tackles in hand, and plenty of options over on this right-hand side. But it's Pitts again who chooses to keep it in hand once more. Now they come left, is Gale, and he'll just put the kick through, and almost a carbon copy of the end of the last set. Joe Brown puts it dead, and it's back-to-back repeat sets, back-to-back goal line dropouts, and Wakefield just really patiently just building the pressure and turning the screw.
Yeah, absolutely. And what it looks like at the minute is Luke Gale's he's the technician out there, isn't he? And he's got a lot of willing runners that just keep coming back under. His Griffin's took 2 strong carries now. The last one gained them a set restart. And again, this pressure will break eventually from York, but it's really disciplined and really controlled, in particular from Luke Gale, who is controlling everything at the minute.
So Brown with the dropout. A little bit more distance on that one, just brings it up to halfway, but Tony will bring it back with interest. Met by Jack Martin. And now they come out to the right. Griffin again already making himself busy with plenty of carries. Of course, loads of Super League experience himself. Be hoping to be playing Super League with Wakefield next year, of course, as Jowett just drops that off. So Pratt stopped on the left-hand side. Jowett acting half, gives it to Gale. Gale looks to apply some width, and Liam Kay could be through, but he just had to check himself there to make sure that he regained possession or kept hold of possession of the football. So just as it looked like he'd sliced through, he was stopped. Wakefield a couple of metres away, and that takes a big bounce off Josh Griffin's arm, and York wrap it up and survive an early period of pressure. Yeah,
it's really good from York. Really resolute defence. It was Liam Kay who looked like he was going through. There's just check there of Angano, and just ball bobbled for him, so he got tackled, and again York come up with the forced error there. So fantastic defence over a long period of time there for York. 5 or 6 minutes on their own line. Credit to them.
It's coming off their own line again, and it's Judd who jumps out from dummy half and brings it up to the 30. As far on the field as York has been with ball in hand for a while is Ronan Michael, Irish international. He brings it up towards the 40. Some decent progress being made from York, but again they opt for the kicking option early on this set with Hingano. It's an awkward bobbling one for Jowett, but he deals with it and then gives it to McGilvery, who just crabs along the line a little bit looking for space, and then gives it to Alfertz, but York's defence level to it. And now McGilvery backing up with another carry. He stopped just short of the 30-metre line, so York really getting off their line in defence here. Good speed so far. That's what it's going to need, of course, to restrict the metres, but straight away, Wakefield looking to play some expansive football, and they're away on that right-hand side. Could be going all the way. Now it's to Jowett. Jowett looks to go under the sticks, and after all the pressure on the York line, Wakefield go pretty much length of the field for the first score of the game. And York, who've been really pleased with the way that they dealt with that pressure, will be kicking themselves that they've let them go the distance there.
Yeah, and they look like they've got a bit of energy, didn't they? They look like they've got some confidence from the try-line defence. The line's been fantastic here, and the second contact on McGilvery in particular. But it's a 2-pass shift. They didn't really have any shape, Wakefield, so it's poor defence from York's left edge on Ian Thornley, who's too big and too strong. It's a poor missed tackle from Law there. And yeah, it's just an easy try in the end, but good vision and good enterprise from Wakefield to really turn the screw after what looked like a little bit of an upsurge for York, but the pressure's told in the end.
As you mentioned, they just shifted it wide, a couple of passes, and Thornley just catching those defenders a little bit caught out in terms of what to do, whether stick or twist, and that opens the gap, and Jowett, the grateful recipient of just a simple ball on the inside, racing in under the sticks.
I think when you've got the middle working so hard to deal with those first 2 or 3 players, in particular with McGilvery and Darryl Alfertz, then you know, you expect your edge to be a little bit more switched on, a little bit more proactive in defence, and yeah, like I said before, they were sat on their heels then, just expecting the Wakefield side to just churn it up the middle. But he went through Liam Kay. He's got the eyes up, and he's played with no shape, like I said before. They've just it's just a one-on-one miss.
So Jarrett just knocks over the first conversion of the afternoon as the floodlights come on here at the DIY Stadium. It went horrible September day, but plenty to look forward to in this game. Plenty to look forward to on the Sportsman, of course. 6 games in 6 weeks as we approach the end of the season. So much to sort out. Here's Wakefield, who have got themselves on top early in this one. And York, who have played this game pretty much entirely in their own half, get us back underway. Brown with the kick, and it's a decent kick-off, which Kay will field and just give it to a Tony, who charges off the back fence. Martin and Ronan Michael in there to meet him. Did a decent job of slowing him down in the end, and it's a slow play of the ball. So for the first time really this afternoon, we're looking over to our right-hand side to see what Wakefield can do in yardage coming off their own line. Mikael Williams in the tackle there on Josh Baldwin, who gets back up and plays the ball. And now Wakefield just examining this left edge. Matty Ashurst, another player with bags of experience at the top level, of course, as Gale brings us out to the right-hand side. And Kay was under pressure but managed to get it away. It was a bit of a bouncing ball, but Thornley now finds McGilvery, and McGilvery's in space and he's beating the man. He's got players lining up on his inside. He'll go into Luke Gale, who will stroll over for the second of the match. And in very similar fashion to the first, Wakefield hit the accelerator from inside their own half. Go the distance to score.
Yeah, again, it's a similar shape, isn't it? This time with more shape, and it's again gone through Liam Kay. Done a great job in the initial to force an error. I think it's Angana who's just applied pressure. He read the play, and as I said before, they wasn't proactive previously. On this occasion, they was, but ultimately you've got to start to scrap and fight for all them loose balls. But it's Wakefield who are first to the punch, and a little bit more enthusiastic to come up with that loose ball. And well, it's Jermaine McGilvery, too strong and too fast down that edge there, and Luke Gale doing what he does, reading the game and just supporting for a walk-in really, and enjoying it as well.
Well, it was Ngano who shot out of the line. He's a split second away from making that play work and making the tackle, but once Kay had got the ball away, they were short of numbers over on that far side, York, and McGilvery still got plenty of pace about him. Luke Gale backing up. 2 players, of course, who will hang their boots up at the end of this season, but enjoying their time with Wakefield Trinity as we approach the end of the season. Luke Gale getting across for the try. And a difficult conundrum for York to solve at this stage, because they did the hard work, that early period of pressure down on their own line, and they've been caught napping twice from inside Wakefield's half. Yeah,
and it's one of those, when you look back on the review, you'll class them as solvable problems. They've done the hard work. We spoke earlier, the bending the back in defence there. I think there was one from Gannon in particular who really bent his back, and Jack Martin on the other. So they're doing the hard graft, and then it's the big shift. They can read the play. Angana's got up, but he's got up on his own and he's just not connected. So that left edge really needs to sharpen up. And like I said before, when they look back on that, they'll see these as solvable problems. So there's a lot to be positive about in terms of bravery, effort and commitment to the cause.
Jarrett on kicking duties, and that one has gone over as well. So that stretches the lead out to 12-0 in favour of the home side, and York will be desperate just to get a bit of ball in hand here, won't they, in a decent position of the field, and just have some time in the game where they're not coming off their own line.
Yeah, absolutely, and they need to, at this point now, it would be easy to put your heads down. Like I said before, there's been a lot to be positive about. They need to defend this set first and foremost, and like you said, Lewis, get some field position and maybe force an error. We've seen some errors. They just Wakefield onto them first, so a little bit more effort needed to get on them loose balls and win them little battles.
So another big kick-off from Joe Brown, and again it's Renouf who carries off the back fence, and now they look to stretch it to the other side. So constantly making this York defensive line slide across and looking for cracks. On this occasion it's worked in York's favour, because they come out with an error. Oliver Pratt, who just can't quite keep control of the football, and this is the first time that York are going to have possession inside the Wakefield half. Can they make it count? Because it's not panic stations just yet, but They need to get themselves a foothold in this game.
Well, since the 10-minute mark, Wakefield have really put the shifts on, haven't they? They've gone left to right, right to left on a couple of occasions. And there's been some errors in there. We've seen one obviously attacking York's line at the 10-minute mark, and then another one here on the left edge. So again, it's important that York really get physical and apply the pressure and discipline now in this area, complete this set and build some pressure.
So York come out to the left-hand side where Joe Law is wrapped up. Job at dummy half brings us out to Hingano, who just drops it off to Jack Martin, who's immediately met by 3 Wakefield defenders who push him back up over the 30, but the ball stays alive, but there's an error in there. And the answer to that question, what can York do with their first meaningful possession of the game? Well, not much. With 15 minutes gone, Wakefield with another one of those small little victories, forcing the error, and that will be a real frustrating moment in this game early on for Mark Applegarth.
Yeah, it's a poor pass from Matarangano. He's put his forward there under an awful amount of pressure against a really fast line speed from Wakefield. It's a slow ruck, and they should have just played off the ruck on that occasion and get the halfbacks out and just, like we said, complete the set. It doesn't matter how it looks, complete the set and finish with a good kick and build some pressure on this Wakefield team.
So Wakefield with the scrum inside their own half. Pretty simple equation for them already in the first 15 minutes. They'll just be looking to work through their sets, you would think, although we have seen them attack twice from deep inside their own half to devastating effect so far. So maybe they will look to strike again, but Rudy Fatoni will just bring this up towards the 10-metre line, the halfway line, sorry. And he'll play the ball, and it's a reasonably quick play the ball for Thomas Doyle to just jump on the back of, and he gets them up to the 40. So Liam Kay steps in at acting half, but there's an error in there as well. So just getting a little bit scrappy in the last couple of minutes. We knew the conditions would play a part. It'll be greasy down there. The rain does seem to have subsided, but it'll have done enough damage, I'm sure. There'll be a bit of a surface layer of water, and as we've seen in the last couple of minutes, both teams struggling to keep hold of the ball. Yeah, absolutely, and they spoke about it, didn't they, before the game, and I think there's definitely a hand in there. So I think the task for York is to almost disrupt Wakefield. Don't stand off them and let them pull the shapes on them. Don't stand off on the middlemen, and like I said before, get their hands in, hit around the ball area. It is greasy, it is wet. Force errors and anything can happen, but it's become a little bit of a stalemate. Got to say, Yorker, as they start to inch the way back in, they got away with this one. Referee has wiped the tackle count clean, so he'll play on over the halfway line or up towards the halfway line with Field. He'll play the ball, and Job will bring us out into the middle of the park again with Jack Martin. He's tackled pretty much bang on the halfway line, so York struggling to make any meaningful kind of metres out of this set so far, but Thompson will bring us up to the 40-metre line. Come out to Hingano, who brings it up to the line of fires, Nical Williams, and just looking for that crash ball through, but Wakefield wise to it. Liam Kay with a good tackle there, and the next option running in for York is Michael. And Michael stop 15 metres away, so he plays the ball, and options on this left-hand side, which is where they come, and it's Nical Williams back on the inside. Really nice little 1-2 between the York halfbacks, but Wakefield's defence deals with it for the time being. This is the last, so first opportunity for York to put an attacking kick in, but they choose to go the distance, and I think they're in the corner. Brad Ward goes over on that left-hand side, and York get themselves a foothold in this game. Couple of errors from Wakefield, giving them the position, and then the one real attacking chance they've had, they make count.
Yeah, absolutely. A great job on Tony there. An inside pass, they got it in once, then they played an inside pass, nearly got him. It was a leg tackle, so we got a quick ruck. And then I think it was Angana who's thrown the cutout pass. A fantastic, yeah, it is Angana. He's cut 2 players out. He caught McGilvray just ball watching, and it's a fantastic pass just to squeeze in with Ward in the corner. It's a really well constructed set by York, and like we said, we spoke about it. They need to keep the composure, keep the confidence, disrupt this Wakefield side and the flow. I mean, we spoke about Wakefield before the game, talking about how the weather would have an influence on how they play. and then they found it a little bit too easy, so they're at risk of playing laterally now. They need to go back to what they do best, which is just turning the ball back under and making them easy meters.
So York back in this game after what would have been a worrying probably 10-15 minutes, opening 10-15 minutes of this game for their supporters, who are underneath us in numbers. They brought the drum as well, which I'm sure is coming through on the commentary, and they've got plenty to cheer about in the last couple of minutes, of course. Nico Williams, who did so much to create that try, now looks to convert it. So decent looking effort off the tee. Has it done enough? Not quite, just fades away to the left-hand side. But York on the scoreboard, and a bit of a warning shot as well, just showing Wakefield what they can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said before, I'm sure the message to Wakefield will be go back to what we started the game with the first 10 minutes, turn the ball back under, make the hard yards, just have one shot in the game and finish with your best play, which is your kick at the end, build pressure. I guess the good thing with Wakefield on the ascend is the drum doesn't beat as much, but it makes for a good game nonetheless.
It's certainly beating at the moment below us. As York, I'm sure they'll just want to get themselves into an arm wrestle now. Nothing silly in this first set after scoring. How often do we see it? The team does all that good work and then undoes it in the next set, but decent progress being made, coming off their own line. Rona Michael with that carry. Now they look to just apply a little bit of width. Jordan Thompson up over the 20. Wakefield's defence doing a good job of smothering York so far in this set and restricting the meters. Just about staying the right side of horizontal there as Connor Bailey carries in, so we play on, and Williams, he now brings it up to the line. Martin met by 3 Wakefield defenders. This is the last, so not a huge amount of progress made in terms of yards from York, but it's a messy play the ball as well, so a little bit of invention needed, but that's exactly what they do. Coming up this right-hand side, Field, he's got Lynham and Williams with him. He looks for Lynham. Lynham then puts an enterprising kick over the top, and from nowhere, York have kind of fashioned an attack out of this. Kay's been forced over the line. There's a bit for the referee to sort out here. Wait to see what he's going to give. A little bit of afters as well. It's just a matter of where the tackle was complete, whether he's going to give a goal line dropout or play the ball.
I would suspect it's a dropout. I think Liam Kay's done a great job at covering back and dropping on that ball, but the momentum then...
it is going to be a dropout,
yes.
So fantastic opportunity for York to get themselves back into possession. Really quick thinking from Tom Lynham on this right edge to just put that kick in. It turned out to be a perfect kick, turning Liam Kay around, and he's on his side a repeat set.
Well, there's a difference, isn't there? Them little efforts like the chaos. So York have created chaos, and look how many people they had in the picture. They got Angana coming in from the left edge, chasing that kick, chasing his partner's kick. So Nico's set up for the kick. Obviously, he's played the play, but Angana's the first person chasing it. So it's really good from York, just trying to win the small battles.
Well, ironically, it all came from a messy play the ball. It looked like it was going to stop York from getting the kick in, and all of a sudden, they've turned that into a repeat set from nowhere, deep inside their own half. So just an indication that the pendulum on this game is swinging again. Bailey brings us up to the 30-metre line. Judd brings us out to the left-hand side to Williams, who then just drops it off to Ronan Michael. He'll look to bring it up towards the 20. Pretty central. It's Williams again. He finds Hingano, who just loses his footing into Radu for Tony, so stopped in his tracks. You can already see, though, the way that these York halfbacks want to play. They want to get on the ball. They want to try and move this Wakefield defence around and cause a little bit of indecision with those inside runners. They'll come out to the right-hand side. This is the last, but Hingano will look to keep it in hand and almost got himself through. Still going, but now wrapped up, and that is the end of the set. But not a bad place to end it at all, Rolls. Yeah, absolutely. And the preferred start point for York on any of the shapes, they like to get to the scrum line, so they shorten the field, so they like to have 2 ways of attacking, obviously the long side and the short side, but it's been really effective. And they look, here we go, they force an error as well. It's fantastic defence. So a real opportunity for York to go back-to-back here, and Wakefield, having started so strong, all of a sudden find themselves on the back foot. So Williams to Michael. Michael just looking to burrow his way through, but stopped meters short, maybe even just half a metre away from the try line. Jubb brings us out to the left-hand side to Hingano. He now puts some width on it and still going. Over on that far side is Joe Law. He's eventually stopped on the 10-metre mark, so York looking to get on with it as Jordan Thompson just carries it back inside. All the shape is stacked outside to the right, both half-backs to the right-hand side of the ruck, which gives you a pretty good indication of where they're going to go, and they do, with Hingano looking for a miss-out ball. I'm not sure if that was intended for Ronan Michael, but he brought it in and nearly made it work. Stopped short, 4 or 5 metres away. Jubb with just a short ball, and Wakefield's defence doing well. And he's held up over the line. So we'll come back 10 metres. But York really having a crack at this Wakefield line. It was Martin who nearly forced his way over there, as we see the error again from Olferts that's led us into that position. The kick goes through, bobbling around all over the place, and in the end Wakefield dive on it. Griffin who diffused the situation, and Trinity now looking to bring the game away from their own line, which is where we've been for the last few minutes. York unable to make it count in terms of points on that occasion, but they'll be pleased, Paul, with the work they've been able to put in and the problems that they've caused Wakefield.
Yeah, they've been rewarded for their energy, haven't they? Look,
huge hit comes in. Zingano came flying in on McGilvery. Could have forced the error, but a real warning shot and a sign that this York defence are really up for it, and they fly in again.
Well, that's not something you see too often, is it, on McGilvery there? So Ngana's having a real influence on this game.
As well, flying in. We love to see it here on the Sportsman. It just feels like the temperature on this game has gone up a notch or two in the last couple of minutes. York making a real fist of this after a worrying opening 10-15 minutes. Lynham fires in against his former side, of course. Met really well. Caleb Welly into the game for Wakefield. See what kind of energy and impetus he can bring to his side. And then Brendan Sansi as well, also onto the field of play, the Italian international, formerly at Keighley before joining York. A kind of Trey Bark energy to him, really strong carries. I'm sure we'll see him getting plenty of work in during his stint. So Daly brings us out to Williams. Williams to Hingano, who puts a really tall kick up. This is going to look to drop in between Jowett and McGilvery, as McGilvery underneath it does really well to just bring it in safely and ride the tackle. But Wakefield again starting from 10 metres away from their own line, and York's defence flies up. Santi in the tackle. Both teams about 26 minutes in, just using their interchange benches, and again strong contact on Olferts as he looks to get his side out of yardage, followed up by Welle, who makes some decent yards and finds his front. So looking for a quick play the ball. Wakefield looking to get a little bit of a roll on, but again big contact coming in. York definitely not scared of putting the shoulder in and looking to force the error. Wakefield fans think that Luke Gale was taken out in back play there after getting that kick away. The referee having none of it, so I think it is just going to be York ball as that ball dribbles into touch. But definitely some feeling in this one. It was Daly who just left his shoulder in.
I think it was committed, wasn't he? I think York have been rewarded for a lot of energy, haven't they, in the last 5-10 minutes. I think they've been on the ascendancy, and it was a timely substitution from Wakefield. I felt that they needed it. I thought the starting pack was really slowed down in the tempo and the line speed.
Well, the benches could be so important this afternoon, of course. You just have to look at some of the talent in the dugout for Wakefield. They've still got Isaiah Vagana to introduce, of course, and Lachlan Walmsley, who's scored 26 tries in 2024, 19 of those coming in the league. So plenty to offer for him as well, coming off the bench. Santi plays the ball just inside his own half, and Daly will just jump out from dummy half and get them over halfway. York just getting themselves in the arm wrestle in the right parts of the field, but there's a bit of a pass to no one, which Bailey mops up, gets us back up to halfway. This is the last, so the kick will come in from inside their own half as Nico Williams puts a Real nasty spiral up in the air, and it's going to bounce again in between Jowett and McGilvery. Relatively kind bounce for McGilvery to just take in, and he stopped on the 20-metre line. So Kay, he gives it to Fawnley. Really nice kind of cut and thrust of this game developing now. Both teams getting the ball in their hands and looking to just get marginally on top of this arm wrestle as Olferts carries up over the 30-metre line. It's been a while since we've seen Wakefield with the ball inside York's half, and halfway inside their own again, as well as brought down just short of the 40. York doing a really good job of just stifling the progress so far, and Griffin now will carry up, and it's a pretty strong carry, looking to find his front. It's a slightly slower play, the ball, and this is the last, so they'll come out to Gale. We put the kick in from pretty much the halfway line, but it's charged down by Joe Law, and it's bouncing around all over the place. We're going to come back for a Wakefield penalty, just for a pullback, I think, on Max Jowett. But you mentioned the word chaos, and there it is again.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say it was just breaking into that midfield tussle, wasn't it, between 20-metre line to 20-metre line, and it was either going to be an error or a lapse of concentration, discipline that was going to give one of these teams field position. So this is a huge defensive set now for York. So they don't want to undo all that good work. They can defend Wakefield here and get back into that grind that they look comfortable in. I've got to say, they look quite evenly matched. For Wakefield, for me, I think Griffin needs to touch the ball more. He's proved a real handful for York, that left edge there.
Well, he was all over it, wasn't he, in those first kind of 10-15 minutes where Wakefield looked like they really were on top. But this is the first time in a while that feels like we've been looking to our left-hand side and looking at Wakefield, looking to put an attacking set together as Kay brings it up over the 20. Gale on the wraparound, and was Fawnley looking for that crash ball. He couldn't take it with him, so York, again, survive a dangerous-looking set in the shadow of their own sticks. Just not quite clicking from an attacking perspective for Wakefield at the moment. Maybe just overplaying a little bit when they are getting the ball in good areas. Maybe just trying to do a little bit too much with it. Lynham, strong carry from him. Takes 4 Wakefield defenders to bring him down. He's forced onto his back before finding his front. Reasonable to play the ball. So Daly will bring it out to the left-hand side. Sansi couldn't bring it in cleanly, and we're going to come back for a Wakefield scrum. And really the first foot that York have put wrong in a possession sense for a while. Yeah, and it's an unforced error, isn't it? I think if you look at the Wakefield one, the play's on, the execution's poor. This one from York is a lack of concentration. It's from Santi, who's just come on the field. He's got to be better than that. And again, he's just offered Wakefield that other opportunity, and he's becoming. Errors are going to be really important this game. The team that controls the ball has the best kicking game, and we spoke about earlier, reacts to any moments of chaos that we've seen York profit from on a couple of occasions. Will come out on top. Wakefield got so much experience in there, of course, as Pitts brings it up to the line, and Gale does well to just juggle it and then bring it back in, and Jowett up towards the 20-metre line. Gale acting half, gives it against the Pitts. That brings us up over the 20, and Wakefield playing with, well, a lot of pivots, it feels. There's almost playing with 3 or 4 half-backs at times, with the way that Pitts jumps in as well, and obviously Kay and Gale in there. Jowett coming in from full-back, and now they come out to the right-hand side. The line speed is good again, and it was nearly away. McGilvery might have had him covered, but the knock-on is there.
It's gone for offside, I think.
We're going to come back for a penalty for offside. Said that line speed was good. Maybe it was just slightly too good to be true. Tingano flying up. Okay, I actually think it's for a high shot on Kay. Just catching him around the shoulders and neck. So Wakefield just wondered for a second then if they were going to take the 2 and keep the scoreboard ticking over, but they're going to keep rolling. Caleb Welle brings it up over the 10-metre line, up towards that York try line. He'll play the ball pretty central. The shape is to the left-hand side, which is obviously the way that they come. Rodwell, one of those big bodies coming off the bench that you mentioned at the top of the show, and Welle again has another crack. Stopped by 3 York defenders and the post protectors. Wakefield banging on the door. Kay, it's not the crispest for balls out, but Jam will look to make it work, and McGilvray will go over in the corner. And a settler for Wakefield. Really good hands in the end. It was Liam Kay who grabbed one off his ankles, spread it out wide again, and McGilvray, as we've seen him do so many times in his career, just strolling over on that right-hand side.
Yeah, they're too good, they're too big, they're too strong to spend too long down in this area of the field. And again, it's proved that right edge for Wakefield. Big bodies like Thornley and Griffin attracting all the attention, just leaving space there. Again, the winger for York, Ward there, just ball watching. He should have put himself in a position between the centre and the winger just to catch the intercept or catch the centre if he hits the ball. It's bad positioning. And yeah, they'll be disappointed with the try again. But again, it's the numbers game, isn't it? Wakefield are prepared to sit down here, camp down in this half, and like I say, back the size, back the know-how, the experience to get over the whitewash. The score at 16-4 now looks really dominant, doesn't it, from Wakefield? When for long periods it's been quite the arm wrestle.
Really nice looping ball over the top from Max Jowett as well to release Jermaine McGilvray into that space, and a real nerve settler really for Wakefield, you would think. Not maybe nerves isn't the right word, but they won't have been pleased with the last 20 minutes of this game, and just getting a try that might just feel kind of arrests some of that momentum and gets it back under their control. Well,
you're eager, aren't you? They're coming to the end of the season. They want to please a big crowd here. They're on their own patch. They've had a great year, and they want to play some good rugby, obviously. And they've got it wrong by the execution on the odd occasion, but other than that, they've been good in this game, just executed a little bit off on occasions. That time, absolutely nailed it. Fantastic pass, and Jermaine McGilvray held in the touchline there to go in untouched.
So it was Jarrett who put the ball into the corner for McGilvray, and that's where he has to try and convert this effort from. Slips a little bit as he strikes it, but still makes decent connection. Just pushes it out to the left-hand side. So it stays unconverted. It stays 16-4 in favour of Wakefield Trinity. This first half has absolutely flown by. 4 minutes or so left in this first period. And Wakefield, as you say, they'll be pleased with the scoreline, but I'm sure there'll be large parts of their performance that Darryl Powell want them to improve on.
Well, it's just, for me, it's just the execution. I think they've been dominant in most parts. I think York have showed tremendous enthusiasm to force errors, to have great line speed and be tenacious in defence. But here we go again. It's an example of that as they force another error from Wakefield.
Liam Kay just asking the question again if there was a hand in there, but nothing given from the referee. So it will be a York scrum and perhaps one more attacking set for them. It's a really strong contact from Thompson. I was just going to say how good Liam Kay's been. Not a natural halfback, but kind of one of those Swiss Army knife type players who'll fit in anywhere.
It's a ball steal all day long from Jacob Gannon, but when you've got numbers in and you're aggressive, then fortune favours the brave, so he's just got to cop it as Liam and keep hold of the ball more. So, but again, it's down to the energy and enthusiasm of York to put themselves in this position.
So York take the scrum in the centre of the field. They come out to the right-hand side to Field, who stopped on the 20-metre line. Daly's at acting half. They'll come out to the left-hand side, and Bailey Antrobus, who's onto the field for the first time this afternoon, looking to just get a quick play, slow down a little bit. Thompson, he brings us out to Hingano, and now Joe Brown, fullback, stopped 12 metres away. York still with tackles in hand, so plenty of opportunity to put this Wakefield line under duress. As Hingano just looks to go himself, drops a shoulder, almost raced through Wakefield's defence, just about wise to it, but he's got his team to within striking distance. It's a messy ruck, and in the end the referee says too messy. And there's an error in there apparently. There's a little bit of sorting out to do here. I think this is going to be Wakefield ball. Hingano suggesting that there was a little bit of interference in there, but again, the referee not interested.
I think he's given it for an incorrect play, the ball, hasn't he? As we watch the replay. Oh, he's lost the ball, hasn't he, into the Wakefield player's leg, so is it incorrect? It's a knock-on from Atarangana. It's unfortunate.
He's another player who's been pretty impressive for York, and then a penalty to follow it up. it's in Ngannou again. We saw him line McGilvery up earlier on in the game with a big shot. He was aiming for him again, but that time just crossed the line of what's allowed these days and left his shoulder in a little bit too much. Didn't wrap around. So Wakefield are up to the halfway line with the kick, and a minute or so left in this half.
Did he give that for offside or high tackle?
I think it was the high shot.
I'm happy with the tackle. I think it was a good shot from Atta. I don't think McGilvery would have been too bothered either.
Seemed to ride the tackle pretty well as Wakefield looked to make progress on that right-hand side again, and Griffin will stop once but managed to get himself free and steal a few more metres and get his side into a position where maybe they can find one more score before the break. York's defence up well, and Kay stopped about 18 metres away, and now they come over to the right-hand side. Thomas Doyle just stopped on the 10. Still tackles in hand, but maybe a race against the clock more than anything for Wakefield now. That clock on your screen is not the official timekeeper's clock, as Brown will just bring that in and again take the safe option and go for the goal line dropout. But we're into the red. There can't be too much left to play in this half at all, so maybe York feeling that the safest option is just to try and ride things out here. A couple of tackles maybe. Get themselves into the sheds. And in fact, there is the hooter. So there won't be time for the dropout. We will head back in for 10 minutes or so with Wakefield Trinity 16 points to 4 ahead. And as we've said, the scoreline suggests that Wakefield have had it all their way. That they certainly haven't, but I don't think you can argue with the scoreline in terms of who's been the better side.
No, absolutely not. And I think that comes down to territory, doesn't it? They've had more field position of Wakefield, so I think Ngannou's been tried hard for them, but not executed great. But I think Jowett in particular has been very, very good for Wakefield. Very controlled, disciplined.
Well, we can remind ourselves then of how that first 40 minutes of Betfred Championship action unfolded, and after huffing and puffing on the York line, it was Wakefield who struck from deep first.
Yeah, it's just a simple shift play over to Thornley, he's took about 10 carries this half. He's been really, really busy, but he's too big, too strong. Again, you can class it as a poor defence from York, but it's great foresight from Wakefield to get the shift on, realise that York was sat on the heels and strike where they're vulnerable through Thornley, who's a big man out there on that edge.
Yeah, just the strength and the awareness to get himself away, and then, as you say, a simple inside ball to Max Jowett. He was one of the few players backing up, waiting to get on the break, and then this is the second, and not quite a carbon copy in terms of the players involved, but the intention is the same. Get it out wide, and Thornley finds McGilvery, and well, he may be hanging his boots up in a few weeks' time, but he's still got the speed and the strength to get away, and Luke Gale doing as all good halfbacks do, backing up on the inside and strolling over.
Yeah, absolutely, and the same edge, but did it a different way before York finally strike back with good field position and a fantastic pass from Ngannou, who's cut out two people to find the York winger in the corner. It's Ward. It's a fantastic try to put them back in the game.
And then Wakefield just getting themselves back on top. Another really good ball from Max Jowett over the top to McGilvery, provider turn scorer on this occasion, and you just felt at that point that was Wakefield just regaining a bit of composure and control.
Yeah, and Jowett in particular is off the back here, isn't he? He's found that perfectly timed pass just to McGilvery, who's held his touchline. He's scored a try, and then actually the half finished with a kick from him to force a goal line dropout. I think he's been really controlled, Jowett, and like I said before, he's not a new name to anyone watching today. He's a Super League player, and he's playing like a Super League player.
Well, an action-packed first 40 minutes here on the Sportsman is absolutely flown by. We are, of course, chasing the end of the season, but what an end of the season it's going to be. 6 games in 6 weeks here on the Sportsman, and of course, grand finals, promotion, relegation, internationals all on the horizon as well. A massive couple of months of Rugby League on the way. We're going to take a short break. Stay with us. 40 more minutes of Betfred Championship action on the way when we return. That is a remarkable finish.
Burke goes for the corner, and Leah Burke's it. And it's Tamsin Renew. The pass from Harley Dawn.
And this could be the first goal of the game because London are going to get them and touch down. He's gone for the same ball and it's going to work.
Beautiful.
They might score the winner. And North Wales have another.
Brings it up to the line, drops it off to Hazard, who reaches through.
So here we go, 80 minutes, live and exclusive here on the Sportsman. Bringer comes flying in on Walmsley.
Here come York, flick pass, and the rover! What drama, what a finish.
The last, they've got the mismatch, but Robertson's going to go himself. Jake Roberts has his second of the game.
Flick pass to Collins, Butler will score.
He does pass to Walkley. Walkley looking for the finish, and he's over in the corner. Ferreira could
Oh, he's got it. He's got his fourth.
That down. They've got in. Instant impact.
Free, he's still going. He's going to score. Wow.
The words, my strength is at its peak. You would not deny them that, would you?
Let's go.
Brilliant ball, Domion's on his way. Absolutely spectacular. Because Luhai's dancing now. Oh, he's found the gap, puts it back on the inside. Paolo spins it away. Luhai bats it on. Brighton will finish. That is incredible. Flags flying of these two nations all around the stadium. Forwards through the first line, and through the second, and through the third, and England on the try. Oh, eyes up rugby league from Lingy Shah. Williams with a kick to the corner, here they go, Mackinson. He pops it over the top, Lafay's got the football, and Lafay's got the try.
Revenge is a dish best served cold.
Photo shoot for the New England kit. What's your first thoughts on the new colours?
Yeah, it's really nice, mate. Hopefully I get to put it on at the end of this year, but like I say, first thoughts, colours really nice, and yeah, it should go well.
I love it. I think it's really good. You know, it's predominantly white, which I think for me it's that wall of white that is England, and then obviously the red and the blue on it. I think it's really, really nice, and the navy shorts as well. Big fan of those, so yeah, excited. Fingers crossed, hopefully get to wear it at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? It's very nice. I really like it. Well, every opportunity you get to sort of wear the badge and represent your country and represent all the people before it and all the present and future. So it's very, very nice to be able to do it, and a very humbling experience and something that I cherish and very look forward to these days. So yeah, it's very nice and very, very blessed to be able to don the kit for the first time.
Yeah, obviously you always want to be involved at the end of the season when it comes to the internationals, and you know, on the back of a good Tonga series last year, you know, getting a 3-0 win was great for us as a squad. So yeah, moving forward, obviously I'd love to be involved again and carry on from where we left off and try and do a similar job on Samoa at the end of the year.
Look, the more fixtures for England for me, the better. Such a proud moment, getting the opportunity to play for your country, but also, for us in terms of building a brand as Team England for the women's game and getting fans behind us. I think it's a great opportunity to play more fixtures domestically so that the fans can come and get behind us, because I think one of the advantages in the women's game is there's loads of fans that just love Women's Rugby League, so they'll have favourites on each different team, Saints, York, Leeds, Wigan, and then they can come and watch England and watch the best players come together and support everyone. So yeah, England's a great chance to do that.
Yeah, it's really exciting, mate. Obviously think back to the World Cup 2 years ago. We got beat against them in the semi-final, so it'll be good to get another crack against them at the end of the year, and yeah, hopefully be a good series and we can get a win.
yellows to look forward to. The back end of this season. Big fan of that new England shirt as well. Looking forward to seeing that in action at the end of the season when they take on Samoa. But here at the VOI Kitchen Stadium in Wakefield, it is the home side who lead at the break, 16 points to 4 against the York Knights. And after starting really strongly, a little bit of a wobble in the middle, Wakefield looked to finish strongly as well in that first half, and ultimately scoreboard pressure may just tell in the second half.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think you see when Wakefield execute correctly and on the money, then it's sheer size and strength that will really get them this win, because they are full-time athletes, and like I said before, they've got plenty of Super League games under their belt, so there's a lot of know-how in there as well. And for me, just the execution were off on a few occasions. If they get that right, then it could be quite ominous for York. So yeah, as you can see, it's Thornley on that edge there. He's just too big, too strong for his opposite number in Lauder, and as all good fullbacks do, it's Jowett who had an influence throughout that 40 minutes, just putting the ball down under the sticks.
Well, this tactic of looking to the edges early on in sets, deep inside their own half, this is Salford, isn't it, Rolls? This is your playbook, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah. They've got such a big team, Wakefield. They've really attracted numbers on them early plays, and York have been so energetic and enthusiastic in trying to deal with them that they've neglected the edge on the occasion there, and it's been the left edge, unfortunately, each time, and they've exposed it, but they never given York, did they? And this is fantastic from Hangana in particular, who's had a real dig in this game, and he's took the line on with the ball, and he's bent his back and put his shoulder in defence, and that's a great cut-out pass for York to get on the score sheet.
Yeah, it's interesting that the contrast in tactic and contrast in terms of the way that the two sets of halfbacks are playing, because Nico Williams and Ata Hingano very much getting the ball in their hand, taking the line on, looking to go through themselves. The contrast of that, yeah. Liam Kay or Luke Gale almost playing with dinner jackets on.
Yeah, well, they're servicing the edges, aren't they? Whereas Ata Hingano in particular, he's the guy who's going to run and break a tackle and scoring in around them Wakefield middles. So they've got big middles, obviously Wakefield, but the strength can be the weakness, and that's what York have tried to expose on the odd occasions that they've had a little bit of sustained pressure and territory down in the Wakefield end. You've seen them with inside passes, and you've seen them creating shape around them to create a running opportunity for themselves. So there's opportunities there for York, but you're going to have to earn the field position first and foremost. If not, then it could turn ugly, and Wakefield, if they get their execution right, it wouldn't shock you to see them post 3-4 more tries in quick succession here. So the challenge is there for York, and I do believe they've got the spirit, and like I said before, they've showed over the last 5 weeks that there's a good team in there who enjoy playing and have got a bit of football in them. So if they continue to have the energy in defence, then for Samaras, hopefully they get some field position, and we see a close game.
Defensively, from a York perspective, I guess now there's probably a little bit of nervousness about the fact that they've been hit twice from deep, and that may just change the way that they approach things in the second half.
Well, I think that's an easy fix. I think that's some quiet chats with that left edge. Pull the last three together, and they will work as a three. The last three's had the issue. The actual middle unit for York, and even the back rowers there, I think they've been fantastic. They've really bent the back. They've had to apply themselves physically. It's a huge physical challenge for these guys. But again, they've been brave and energetic, and they've solved all the problems. If you look at Wakefield's tries, they've been repetitive really in how they've gone about their business. They've sucked them in, they've drawn the numbers. It's took 3 and 4 to deal with the physicality of Wakefield, and then the edge is just switched off for that one moment, and they're too good, Wakefield.
Both teams back out for the second half. The floodlights on. It's 5-4. It feels like about 7 o'clock here in Wakefield. It's dry at least. The rain has stopped, so maybe things may just dry up a little bit on the surface as well. Saw a few headers creeping in that first half. You can tell that it's September. You can tell it's that time of year where everything matters. York with a massive 40 on their hands as they look to continue their charge for the playoffs. Liam Kay takes that first kick off of the half in. Wakefield straight away just looking to settle back into the arm wrestle, get themselves on top physically, and manage this game through.
Come on, boys! Don't test me! Move!
So Doyle, dummy half, comes over to the short side where Matty Ashurst will carry up towards the 30-metre line. Gale now brings it on the inside, and that's good defence that from York. Santi and Thompson in there. Can get up quickly and restrict the space and then the meters, but Pitt's just looking to get his nose through the line, almost does. Thought about the offload, kept it in hand. Now they come out to the right where Gale will kick. That's the last. Just about stays in the field of play before going out.
Yeah, I think
bouncing the right side of the line.
I think Griffin's just got in his way a little bit there, hasn't he? He's, yeah, I just seen watching Luke Gale now having a little chat with him. He's just got in his kicking line and put him off a little bit, and yeah, he skewed it. So whilst it has bounced and it's not an overly bad outcome, I think Luke Gale, being the technician that he is, would have wanted a little bit more from that last play.
So it'll be York play the ball on the 20-metre line. Bit of a false start, but now we do get back underway, and a really important first set, it feels, from a York perspective, to get through it, try and get some meters out of it and do their bit to get on top in this arm wrestle. They come out to the left-hand side, Ngannou just short ball. Ngannou and Williams are, of course, the danger men, as we've seen so far in this game, as Thompson carries up towards halfway. Finds his front as well. Perhaps would have liked to slightly quicker play the ball, but now Brendan Santi follows up, and he makes decent progress, and he will get a reasonably quick play the ball. This is the last. They'll come out to the left-hand side, where Ngannou will put a really tall kick up in the air. Jowett pretty safe underneath it, but York will be pleased with where Wakefield are starting this set. Want to pin them into their own half. Of course, we've seen Wakefield strike from deep already twice in this game, so just look for those spread plays again, as Olfert's looking to keep it central, bounces off a couple of tackles before eventually being brought down. He'll play the ball on the 20-metre line. Wakefield just looks for the time being like they're going to keep it in between the tram lines. This is the last, so they'll come out to the left-hand side. Gale again, not quite the platform he'd want to kick from. In fact, he may not get the kick away at all. And York are going to force a turnover inside Wakefield's half. And for the second set in a row, just a little bit of disjointedness on fifth tackle. And this time Wakefield do find themselves in trouble.
Yeah, he's not going to be happy, is he, Luke Gale? Again, he's got some really poor service there from dummy half. They've stuttered and stopped and started with the ball and the service to Luke Gale. Just wants to get a clean ball and a kick away. So, yeah, two poor last finishes from Wakefield on by their standards.
So the first opportunity in the second half for York to try and crack this Wakefield defence. Lynham eventually able to play the ball. Ngannou to Santi. Met by two Wakefield defenders. So no real progress so far from a York perspective, but now they look to bring it out wide, and Ward finds himself in some space. Kay gets across. York players asking the referee politely if that was a tip tackle. He says no. They'll come out to the right-hand side. Ngannou, though, will switch it back to the left. Jacob Gannon, he stopped 15 metres away, and that's fired the York fans up below us, as Ngannou on the 20 looks to spread it out wide to Williams. Williams with a big loop ball over the top to Lynham, who's looking to ride a couple of tackles, but the scramble defence is really good from a Wakefield perspective. Jowett in there, Gale as well, Oliver Pratt too, all getting across to cut down the space, and not much Lynham could really do there, but another sign of intent from York.
Yeah, they asked a lot of questions there, didn't they? Through Brown in particular on this left edge. Lovely tip on pass, then got involved again for short in the field, and it was Nico Williams who put a long pass over the top, and it looked like Lynham's going into corners, a strong body, so he took some stopping, but Wakefield very keen to keep the try line intact, and yeah, they got numbers across, and it was great defence in the end from Wakefield, but good from York, good start.
So Olferts just manages to shift away from one tackle before taking on a couple more, and he'll play the ball on the 20-metre line. Not the cleanest, but the referee happy with it. So Wakefield continue to trundle on. Some decent metres early on in this set. well. He'll play the ball just short of the 40, and now Gale just puts a kick in over the top, looking to push York into the corners. Brown at full-back will deal with it safely and then look to return with interest, but he's met by Griffin and Kay.
Keep time that 10.
So York again coming from deep inside their own territory. Pingano
Josh, you're off.
brings us back into the middle with Bailey Antrobus. He's stopped 35 metres away from his own line. Daly brings it out to the left. Pingano will kick early in the set, looking for a 40-20 perhaps. Doesn't quite have the angle. It'll bounce away from the sideline rather than in. And Jowett will look to mop up a few metres away from his own try line. He's met on the 10-metre mark, so still a decent end of set, still a decent result from a York perspective as they force Jowett back deep inside his own 10. Kay will give it to Olfert. He'll look to try and jig through the line, but he's met well, so metres at a premium there. Wakefield just keeping it simple, none of that expansiveness, none of that intent to attack from deep that we saw in the first half just yet. Different equation, of course, when you're 12 points ahead and just looking to manage the game. McGilvery with the play, and Wakefield players asking for a high shot. It was a little bit of a seatbelt tackle, but the referee says get on with it. Gale puts a long kick in over the top, looking to turn Brown around. He will play it from in front of him, but from his own 10-metre line, and then return it up over the 20, where he's met by Ashurst. So again, just stretching a little bit. Both teams liking that option of kicking earlier on in the set.
Well, he sat deeper this time, Max Jowett. It was very shallow before. It was great vision from Ngannou, actually. Just execution, just not quite there for the 40-20. But, yeah, he's sat a lot deeper now, Max Jowett, to defend that kick.
Well, the tackle's flying in. Kai Rodwell with a big contact there as Antrobus carries again. This is the last, so York unable to make too much of a dent in that set. Ngannou puts the ball up tall again. Jowett underneath it. Takes it in really calmly and has the space to return the ball up over the 30-metre line for Wakefield. Kay at acting half. He's got McGilvery and Thornley offering themselves up as runners. It's McGilvery who takes it on the left. He plays the ball and Kay brings us out to the left-hand side to Gale.
It's for Garner who's on the field.
Garner coming onto the field for the first time this afternoon, and I'm sure from a York perspective they won't be too thrilled with the sight of that, just as you've weathered a couple of storms. They roll another battle cruiser off of the bench.
Well done, boys.
That is the strength in depth that Wakefield have. That is why they've been so good this year. But there's an error from Caleb Welling, just inside the York half, and the Knights players are really happy with that one. Line speed was good, and he just left his hands at home.
Yeah, it's been a really solid opening, hasn't it? 9 minutes now, the second half. I think York have done a great job. It's been tit for tat, early kicks from both sides. And on that occasion, it's Gannon again, who's really got high on line speed. He's been great today, I think, for York in the York shirt, but played really tough. And he really got in the face of the Wakefield player there and forced the error. So a chance now for York to just get that territory back on their side, because they were just starting to lose that battle.
So the scrum just inside their own half from a York perspective. Lynham is in at first receiver. Rides a couple of tackles but can't really make any progress. Manages to get a reasonable play the ball out of it though. So York will look to make some progress up the middle with Jack Teamby. This is Brendan Santi. He just loses his footing a little bit short of the 40-metre line. So York still struggling to make too much of an impact in this set. Teamby has his second carry of the 6. And they'll play the ball just short of the 30-metre line. Ngannou again bringing it up to the line and looking for that drop-off pass, but doesn't work on this occasion. They'll take to the skies. That kick's a little bit of a loose one. Lynham manages to bring it in and get the offload away. That nearly works from nothing really from a York perspective, but Wakefield do mop it up, and now Olfirth's looking to get away, but it's not a good pass. Kay doing the clean-up job. Scragg's down 10 metres away from his own line, and Holfert's has been really busy in yardage. We've not seen too much of him in full flow in an attacking sense, but he's done a lot of work for his team inside their own half. Thornley having to juggle, and then the ball is knocked loose. So York will get possession back in really good field position, and a golden opportunity for the Knights to get themselves right back in this one.
It was a carbon copy, wasn't it? That right to left, left to right shift that they scored off in that first half, the first try. It was a carbon copy of that, no real shape, just straight hands. And the task of the left edge from York was to get up high and make contact, not let them get to the last pass. And it was Ngannou again who's got a great contact right through the back of Thornley to force that error. So they've learned the lesson. So a great start again. Repeat myself from York. When you're learning lessons and taking that into the second half, well, it stands them in good stead.
So they're going to take the scrum over on the left-hand side, exactly 20 metres out from the Wakefield line, and they've stacked all of their options to the right. So it's going to be TB who takes the first carry of this set. He'll make about 7 metres from that first carry, so straight away on the front foot. Daly, a dummy half, comes out to Thompson. He just chops back onto the inside, where he's met well by Jay Pitts. No problem with the tackle technique. Now Ngannou brings us out to the right. Sansi just looking to find a gap that wasn't there. And again, they come to the right. Williams now dropping it back onto the inside. They do make their way over the line, but it's held up, so we're going to come back 10 metres. Good tackle management there from Wakefield on Bailey, just to keep him under control and force York to take this, play the ball from the 10. Law will have to do a little bit of work here to tidy things up, and Liam Kay gets out to him. The York fans underneath was not happy with the way that tackle was made, but the referee says get on with it. Ball goes in the air for Ngannou. Jowett's there, and he manages to settle it on the right side of the try line as well. So no repeat set from a York perspective, but they fly in, and a penalty straight away for a high shot on Thornley. I think it's Ngannou again who's just got it wrong. We've seen him fly off the line a few times this afternoon, sometimes with an element of success, but on that occasion just getting his tackle technique wrong.
Yeah, I don't think there's an awful lot in it. We'll see the replay. It was a good set from York, wasn't it? And you're going high on Thornley. I've got to say, I think there's some mitigation in those. Obviously, the buzzword, isn't it? But he's definitely on his way down, isn't he, Thornley? As we watch the replay, it's a great take in the first and foremost from Max Jowett again. Yeah, he's
catches him high.
He's low, isn't he, Thornley? And he's caught him high. I think it's a penalty and nothing more really. The aftermath, you know, you shouldn't be rewarding the push and shove.
I've got the high tackle by Ngannou, low level force and rapid and unexpected loss of height, so it's a penalty only for me. And then we've got players coming in, Brendan Santi, and multiple. I'll have a word to the captains. Do you have anything else? Yep,
I'll take the penalty only for
yes,
the okay.
yes. Thank you. Thanks. Go back, guys. Thank you. Captain. Brendan. Boy, just go back. I'll talk to you in a second. Just go back. Boy. Come in.
So we'll just see what the referee comes up with here, speaking to Thompson and Santi. It wasn't Santi who made the initial tackle, of course, so this is for the aftermath of that.
Right, actually go. I'll have a word with
him. Like he's going to reduce the game in terms of players on the field.
Low level force, and there is
just a word to calm down, perhaps. There's a chat with Jay Pitts as well.
I've had a word with them.
Wakefield skipper
as well. If you want your players to take control out of my hands.
A game that has been building in
the sideline. Okay.
temperature, and
I think the melee was out of context, to be fair. I don't think there was nothing in the initial tackle to warrant the response. Taking a bit too long here. We've had a good flow to this game. It's been great. I think it's been ref great. They're just this period of time just a little bit too long.
First major stoppage, isn't it? This is it here. As you said, Thornley just
hit the shoulder.
On his way down. Hingano catches him high.
It's only just a penalty, I reckon.
Penalty and nothing more, and we get on with it. You could tell York were going hunting, weren't they? They were looking for an error. They were trying to fly up, and
well, so they should.
Putting the challenge to Wakefield. Maybe that bit of energy and aggression spilling over into the afters, but the referee's had a word. We've cracked on. 13 aside, get on with it. What we like to see. 16 points to 4 Wakefield lead here on the Sportsman. 15 minutes played in the second half. This Betfred Championship tie. Bigger things to come, of course. From a Wakefield perspective, they will definitely be in semi-final action here in a few weeks' time. York have approached the end of this season like a steam train. 5 wins in a row, 10 wins in 13 since Mark Applegarth took over. They've given themselves every chance of making the playoffs. They're fighting for their lives, of course, in this one now, and that's a huge contact that goes in from Vagana. He'll look to exert himself in this game, of course, coming off the bench, and a little bit of enterprising play from York as they just look to steal a few more metres with Brad Ward. Hingano would act in half. Brings it out to Law. He'll play the ball, and it's Sansi charging in. Steam still coming out of his ears after that dressing down for the referee, I'm sure. Thompson cuts back off to the inside.
Tom, get out!
Almost able to get an offload away, but kept it in hand. Hingano will kick from just inside the 40, but it's down the centre where Olferts will just about bring it in cleanly. Ball playing tricks out there in the conditions. I'm sure there's still plenty of water, plenty of grease on that surface, given the amount of rain that we had earlier on in the day. Luke Gale at acting half, pretty central, brings it out to Lee Kay. Brings it up over the 40-metre mark. McGilvery, he'll look to bring it up over halfway. Strong carry from the former England winger. One of those players will be really missed from the game when he does hang up his boots at the end of this season. Fantastic career, but now Wakefield look to apply some width, and Olferts just about dealt with over on that left edge. And this is the last, so they'll come out to Gale. He'll look to just put a high one up, keeps it relatively straight. Brown's underneath it, does really well. York will have to carry this back from deep inside their own half. And just a game management style kind of end of set there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just getting back into the ascendancy of the territory, and like you said, I think Luke Gale just controlled that set brilliantly. They've just found their way back into territory. We're getting back into that grind, aren't we? So York keep coming up
really
with this.
Well to get the offload away.
That's the second time out of yard. This is what York need to. They've got a chance to arm a little bit. They're not going to go route one through this Wakefield team. Far bigger.
Again, I think that's another 40-20 attempt. Again, just catches the ball on the wrong side of the bounce. So Jarrett will have to go all the way back to clean it up. He's met by Law. He wants to push him back. So Wakefield will start this set pretty much their own try line. McGilvery, strong carry from him, looking to get over the top of Hingano. Play the ball on the 10-metre line. Kay brings us out to Thornley. Makes such a difference, doesn't it? We've mentioned the size of this Wakefield side a few times, but when you've got outside backs that are the size of back rows, it does make a huge difference.
Absolutely. Like I said before, I'll still say that Griffin needs to be more involved in this game. He's proved an handful every time.
Nearly getting himself through there, but makes good meters, and he'll play the ball on the halfway line. So Gale kicking from inside the York half. It's a really tall one. It's spinning around all over the place. Pitts will just let it drop. And Brad Ward will dive on it, so York do get the ball back. Real cut thrust of this game. It's felt quick, hasn't it, in the last 10 minutes? Going through the sets at a rate of knots as Team B's forced backwards by a Tony.
It's 20 minutes without a score now, isn't it? So you kind of feel we're getting into that territory again where an error, a penalty, is going to prove and give the opportunity for one team or the other.
So Hingano looks to bring us out to the left-hand side. Brown will just straighten up where he's brought down on the 40-metre mark. This is the last. So again, they'll go to the boot of Bata Hingano, and that's another one that's spinning around all over the place in the air. Jowett expertly dealt with, then gives it to Olferts, who manages to ride a tackle. Can't quite find the space that he was looking for to break away, but he'll play the ball just over the 10-metre line. The referee's going to tell him to go back and play at the other side of the 10-metre line, just stealing a couple of metres there, Daryl Olferts.
He stepped off the mark, hasn't he? There's a great take from Jowett as well, by the way. The bomb was very high. There's the error.
Well, there is the error. So York will get the ball back 10 metres away from the Wakefield line, and they've had a couple of these opportunities in the game already that they've not been able to make stick. If they're going to do anything in the last 20 minutes, you feel like this one probably needs to go over.
Yeah, I think so. I think what York have got is the ability to kind of sense an opportunity, haven't they? When maybe Wakefield have not quite got the shape coming out of yardage, and they're coming from outside in defence, so individuals come to force errors and disrupt. They're a team that like to disrupt and, like I said, force errors, and they've come up with some success this afternoon. Like you said, though, they need to execute and nail one of the opportunities. They bring all the players around again on that big scrum play.
Essentially crucial moment in this game. They come out to Hingano. He drops it off to Jacob Gannon. Wakefield's defence doesn't need to do anything spectacular. They don't need to force an error or anything like that. They just need to manage these next 4 tackles through as Jack Martin backtracking but making progress. Maybe a mismatch of numbers on the left, but instead they come out to the right to Nicole Williams. Hingano could be spaced on the right-hand side to Lynham, but it's a scrappy pass, just looking to play it a little bit too quickly. It goes into touch, but we are going to come back for a York penalty for offside, so they will get another bite of the apple. You have a look at it again.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's just that execution again, isn't it? That last pass just needed to take a little bit off his run, catch it a little bit deeper, give himself some more time. But for me, the obvious point that they're going to is Uali and Luke Gale. There's a big fella on an edge there, Uali and Vergana. Whichever one gets caught out there at 4-man, they seem to be swapping quite a bit. But there's some space around there.
Yeah, moving things around to take Caelan Welly a couple of times. They've looked to single him out as Thompson brings it back on the inside, and he looks to get the better of Isaiah Vergana. Now they come right, it's that ball over the top again. Too much for Lynham to do. He's done well this afternoon, Tom Lynham, but even he couldn't wriggle himself free on that occasion. York still with possession in hand, though. Tackles made. Still a dangerous situation from a Knights perspective. They go to the right, but the ball goes to the ground. And the opportunity goes begging. And we said at some point they're going to need to make one of these count. That feels like a big defensive win from a Wakefield perspective.
Yeah, they've read it, Wakefield. I think it's Pratt who's come in and really hard from the centre position to help Luke Gale out, who's in 3-man, third defender in. And they were just going to play a short ball, run straight at him, who would have been sat on the try line. So, yeah, it's Pratt who's come in. He's really spotted it well, forced the error. So, big play for Wakefield. But you can see what York are trying to do. That's the area that they're going to. They played a lot of lead balls, so played a lot of short balls in and around the big man at the 4th defender in. Now they've started going off the back and trying to exploit that space in and around Gale.
To McGilvery. He'll play the ball 20 metres short.
Jordan, move! No.
Ready for Tony will play it. Actually for Garner, I think that they were trying to straighten up on a couple of occasions. He's come on for Welle on that far side. it's Pitts. He makes it up to the 45-metre mark. So Wakefield making reasonable progress in this set as they come over to the right-hand side, and there's Josh Griffin, who, after a lively start to the game, has been quiet at times, but Gale now getting the kick up into the air, spinning around all over the place for Brown to try and deal with. He does. He's then levelled by Liam Kay. The referee more than happy with it, but Joe Brown in a little bit of bother down there, 15 metres away from his own line, and he will play the ball, but it doesn't look comfortable at all. To try and get some attention on from the trainer. York looking to try and get themselves out of their own real estate. And they're up to the 30. Here's Hingano. He'll just keep the ball in hand. There was a little bit of space there between Griffin and Kay, but the door was shut pretty quickly, but he's still going. Now he finds his half-back partner Williams, who brings us back inside to Daly. Lionel's come hunting for the ball off his wing. York just having to keep the ball alive at this stage, trying to make something happen as Team B carries up over halfway. This is the last, so they will be kicking from inside Wakefield territory, but only just. Hingano puts it up. It's spinning around all over the place again. Jowett faultless underneath it, as he has been all afternoon. Not an easy day for the fullbacks under those high balls, but they've done really well, and now they look to spread it again. The cover defence is good. From a York perspective.
Well, to get through, they're in a bit of trouble, York, because Joe Brown, the fullback, is really struggling, hobbling around on one leg there.
He's really not recovered from that tackle well, has he? He's trying to run it off, but as you say, if Wakefield can break the line, as Ivor Garner has a go. He does look like he's vulnerable at the moment as Gale puts the kick up on the last. It's another scruffy one. Tony Renouf gets underneath it, then gets the offload away, and Liam Kay could be away. He then finds an offload, but we are going to come back. The tackle was complete, and it will be York ball.
Just finding a way, aren't they, York? They're finding a way, they're just scrapping. Like I said before, they're defending from outside. Individuals are seeing opportunities to force errors, and they're shooting out the line. And Wakefield are really not comfortable at all, enjoying this pressure through the defence that York are putting upon them. I think they've really unsettled the Wakefield team, but it's so important that they score next. So, you know, if Wakefield score next, you think it's game over. If York score next, then it's all on, isn't it? And this place becomes really nervous.
Yeah, they've had a real good dig, York. Ronan Markle comes back onto the field. I think the only thing that they haven't got really working in their favour at this point in the game is that scoreboard pressure, isn't it? There's no reason for Wakefield to kind of overplay their hand at all. They can just try and manage this game through. Garno looking to try and make something happen. He's met by Griffin. Does have a whole different perspective to a game, doesn't it? If you're within a score, if you're within striking distance, as Williams trying to get himself free, managing to get up over the halfway line, but Wakefield doing a pretty good job of just keeping the metres to a minimum from a York perspective, although that's a good carry from Ronan Michaels. Still going with three Wakefield defenders wrapped around him. This is the last. So they'll come out to Williams on this occasion. He'll bring it up to the line, and just thought they were going to go for it on fifth then, but they have put the kick through. And Lynham might have got there. I'm not sure where the ball's going to come out here. We are going to come back. It was the last tackle, of course, anyway, so Lynham wrapped up, so we are going to come back for Wakefield ball. Just for a second. Jarrett might have been panicking a little bit there. He'd been caught short.
Play the ball. No, it's a great kick. It's a great kick from York, and not a bad place to turn over, isn't it? Now, this is the area again. They need to start trying to force that error because time's ticking, isn't it?
Well, this is where York have just undone some of their good work on a few occasions this afternoon. He's slightly too keen with the line speed, conceding penalties. But we're a few tackles into this set now, and Wakefield unable to make too much of an inroad at the middle of the field. Thornley now using all of his size and strength to get himself through and get a quick play the ball. So Gale will be kicking from the front foot. And Ghana got out to him. Joe Brown, who looks like he's managed to just get himself back on all four wheels again. And now Lynham takes 3 defenders on and makes 5 or 6 metres off the back of that carry. York already up to halfway, so potential here that they could get themselves into an attacking position for a kick. Thompson brings us up over halfway, and Ghana now looking wide. Williams at acting half. Up to the 30 now, the Knights. Job back onto the field as well, looking to just give them a little bit of zip coming out of hooker. This is the last. They'll come to the short side. Williams will bring it up to the line, looking to put the kick in again. And it just dribbles out of play. It was Ollie Field who, for the second set in a row, put that little grabber kick in for Lynham to get after, but on this occasion, just a couple too many rotations. But you can see what the tactic is from a York perspective, hitting that short side on last tackle and just trying to play the game in the corner. Yeah, absolutely, and again, almost creating chaos, aren't they? And anything can happen. So if they get a foot to that, then you know, they can scratch a try in there. But you know, they're not bad places to turn over the ball, and they just need to pump up that energy again. There's only 9 minutes left now on the clock. Yeah, the clock not in York's favour. Wakefield have done a pretty good job this afternoon, just managing the game at the key points and not allowing York to have too many free hits at their line. Alferts. Well, I think he's left that ball behind. He's dropped that. So, just as I say, Wakefield are managing this game out. They have given York a golden opportunity to bring this game to within a score. And as you say, about 8 minutes left on the clock, and it would get interesting if York could score from this set. So what can they do? Hingano brings us to the right. Williams, the line speed's really good, but it does make its way out to Lynham. Lynham putting a kick through. I'm not sure that was the best decision, although I think it is going to engineer a repeat set. So York will get the ball back. That was pretty early on in the set to put the kick through, but he's obviously seen that he could turn the Wakefield defence around. Yeah. The error again from Alferts. Just that shoulder in from Williams that's knocked the ball loose.
10 seconds.
It's a strange choice there from Lynham to put the ball on the foot early, but it's something like that probably going to actually catch Wakefield out. But yeah. Oh,
they just managed to kick the ball in. In fact, they don't. Really clever goal line dropout. And that might just be the moment in the game where Wakefield can think maybe we've got the job done. Yeah, I mean, that puts a pin in it, doesn't it? You know, real moment of on the upturn there for York, just starting to build pressure. And I'll go back to that kick there from Tom Lynham. Whilst they got the repeat set, what was they, play 2 or play 3, just get the field position. He was going to land exactly where they want it, so they can get a shot there in and around Gale and Vagana. And they've took that opportunity away. So again, time's against them. Great kick though. Luke Gale we've seen that before, haven't we? Attacking kicks, kick-offs and dropouts, and really turn it on its head and get good field position from it. Yeah, he's still got a few tricks up his sleeve, hasn't he? As Wakefield bring the ball up over halfway. Doyle to Gale. Gale dropping it back on the inside to Josh Bowden, who will play the ball just short of the 40. Gale again with ball in hand, keeps it in hand on this occasion. Still looking for that killer blow, aren't they, Wakefield? Just looking for the moment that will take the game completely out of York's reach. I wonder if maybe in this kind of field position, although just for a second it looked like Griffin would be in, you just wonder if they're going to start thinking about the one-pointer just to push themselves out to that 3-score lead, but they're going to go for it on the last here. Jarrett will put the kick through, as a few players all seem to lose their footing at the same time, but York do wrap it up And a couple of metres away from their own line. That's Mikael Williams trying to get his side into some space, but wrapped up by that blanket of Wakefield defenders. And they know what they need to do from this point on. It's just managing this game through, isn't it? Getting through the sets, no penalties, no errors. Not giving York any more opportunity as they look to spread the ball out to this left-hand side. The pass was just slightly behind Law, otherwise he might have been away. And then there's an error. McGilvery mops it up and then gives it to Lachlan Walmsley, who's onto the field of play for the first time this afternoon. It's a real luxury, isn't it, to be able to bring on a player who's scored 26 tries in the season off the bench with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, well, he's gone into full-back. Liam Kay's gone off, and it's Max Jewett who's gone over to that right edge pivot there.
It's been another real strength of Wakefield's all season, that ability to shuffle the pack when they need to, put players into different positions and just move things around. So much versatility in that spine. We mentioned it earlier on. Jowett's played like a half-back at times anyway this afternoon, so I'm sure he'd be more than comfortable as he brings the ball up to the line. And Thornley with a little bit of footwork and a little bit more footwork from the big man. Then getting the offload away. Spread ball out from Jowett. Gale with the kick. Lynham does really well. Lynham does really well to pluck that ball out of the air. He was backtracking. He's probably saved his side from conceding 4 points there. But a lot of work for York to do coming off their own line, and it just feels like Wakefield have finally broken the back of this game.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? And you can just see a try coming now, but it's great work from Lynham to defuse that bomb after what was great.
Again, really good hands from the winger.
Yeah, it was great play from Wakefield as well. Good vision from Luke Gale, and like I said, it took something special to save that, what would have been a certain try, but Wakefield go again.
So the kick comes over the top earlier on in the set. York having to throw everything at this now to try and find a hole in this Wakefield armour, but Jowett just getting up slowly. Whilst we've got a little bit of a break in the game, Paul, I'm going to ask you to start just having a think about who your Betfred player of the match is.
Think out loud off.
However you need to do it, Paul. We've got a couple of tackles left in this set. The game's just slowed down a little bit. So, tell you what, we'll get to the end of this set, and then you can give me your Betfred player of the match.
Move. Hold it, boys.
So, play the ball's really slowed down from a Wakefield perspective, but they won't mind too much about that for me. Going back and cleaning up, picking the ball up. Forced back to the halfway line. Gale at acting half. Ashurst finding Josh Griffin, and I think both of them probably guilty of knocking on there, but actually it's going to be a penalty for offside. So whilst we take a breather, Paul.
Yeah, well, I'll just name a couple, to be honest. I think for York, I think as an individual, I think Angana's been fantastic. He's not always been clinical, but his effort, his toughness has never been questioned, as has Gannon. For Wakefield, I think it's been an unbelievable team performance. I don't think anyone's overly stood out in the way that those two have for York. However, for me, the guys provide the clinical edge, and the difference between the two teams has been Max Jowett.
So there you go, Max Jowett is your Betfred player of the match. Try scorer, goal kicker, of course, provider. Involved in everything good that Wakefield have done this afternoon, and here he is again with an enterprising pass over the top, right on cue. Daryl Olfert scores, and Paul Rowley does know what he's talking about. Brilliant from Max Jowett, just a one-time ball over the top. Olfert's in acres of space, and that is the try that Wakefield have been looking for to kill this game off.
Yeah, absolutely. And you ain't picking a man of the match. It's not an easy task, is it? And you always think, oh, you'll get it wrong, but on this occasion, I think right on cue, Max Jowett's come up with an absolute pearl of those. As we look at him, he's got bandages up his nose, so he's had a few knocks as well. But yeah, it's just simple hands. Couple of block shapes there, and he's had to get that away. He's not even caught it, has he? He's just tipped it on, and it's fantastic execution. It's really difficult skill to execute under so much pressure. and he's nailed it. And Darrell Alfort's got a real easy walking for what's been, well, quite an uneventful afternoon for Darrell out there on that left edge.
Almost an Aussie Raw style kind of bounce over the top, wasn't it? From Max Jowett. Brilliant piece of skill to put his winger in. Wakefield move out to a 20 points to 4 lead. It's just that instant shift, isn't it? And not a huge amount Linen could do when he was trying to stretch across, but the ball moved so quickly. Left that space open on that far side. And a scoreline that probably reflects the way that this game has gone. York have absolutely been in touch. They've had a real dig, but throughout all of it, Wakefield have had a real kind of composure and control to them.
Yeah, and we started the show talking about the consistency that Wakefield have showed, the consistency they've had within the team and the squad, and the players that they've been able to put in, week out, and then slightly contrasting for York, our change of coach, new players, some high numbers in there, 42, Jack Martin, for example, 38, Jacob Gannon.
Jarrett with the conversion attempt, and again, not quite able to add the extras.
Yeah, so just to carry on, I think York individually and collectively have tried very, very hard, but you've seen a team that's very connected in Wakefield, and like I said before, I keep using that word consistent. Well, they've been quality from the day that they got that lesson in the mud off Featherstone, and Darryl Powell alluded to it before the game. It was a great thing that happened to him, really, in hindsight. They've been the best team all year, and today's been no different.
And then a penalty from the kick-off. York offside from their own kick-off. A real coach killer, that one, but just looking to get any kind of advantage they can at this point, aren't they? As you'll see, the clock on the screen is into the red. We will not be far away at all from the end of this game.
It's probably 3 minutes, because he had a good old chin wag on the high tackle, didn't he?
Bit of a coming together and then a bit of a conference about it halfway through the second half, so maybe time for Wakefield to put one more set together and try and get one more try on the board. That's taken a bit of a deflection off a York hand, but Thornley mops it up and then looks to crash through 2 or 3 York defenders on this side, but we're going to come back for another penalty.
It's a late shot, isn't it? Is it on that? I think it's on Jowett, actually. Have a wait to see the replay if we get a chance.
Yeah, caught the ball off his nose. Man of the match award in his pocket, but a late shot for his troubles there. So again, as we just have a look,
it's a shoulder charge. There's not a lot, isn't it? There's not a lot in it. It's a shoulder charge, though. It's a shot.
It's almost a kind of lazy effort, isn't it? At this time of the game, he's got out to him.
Well, he's close enough. He's not stopping, is he? At that point, 1 minute left.
So Wakefield will keep it rolling with Ashurst. Still no sign of a hooter, so still time perhaps for Wakefield to have one more crack at the line. There is the hooter. Tony Renouf couldn't get himself through, so that will be that this afternoon at the DIY Kitchen Stadium. Wakefield League Leaders Shield already in hand, of course. 2 more points on the table for them as we move closer to those all-important playoffs. York, well, they had a good crack. You can see the characteristics that's seen them shoot up the table with those 10 wins in the last 13, unbeaten in 5 until this afternoon, because Wakefield have taken a 20-4 win. But we'll remind ourselves of exactly what's happened this afternoon, and it's funny, really, the game that played out in the first 10-15 minutes is not what we saw for the rest of the 80. We saw Wakefield attacking from deep, looking to expand, looking to turn York around, and then kind of from that point on, what we got was a bit more of an arm wrestle and a bit more of a kind of battle up the middle.
Yeah, it was a tough game, wasn't it? I thought it was a really tough encounter. Two good sides, and like I said before, not a lot between them. As we see the blueprint for Wakefield with that early shift left to right. Again, we've seen it. We've seen it at half time. It's Thornley, too big, too strong, isn't he? And Max Jowett, man of the match. Well, he's just cleaning up, isn't he? And he starts the game and he finished the game, didn't he? In that respect.
That support play from Jowett. Consistent with what we we saw in the second try. A little bit of enterprise needed from Wakefield, but once they did get the ball into space, McGill were able to canter away, and then Luke Gale backing up.
Yeah, absolutely. Just did same blueprint as the first try, got there in a different manner, the same outcome before York finally got on the score sheet from a wonderful pass from Hingano and a fine try in the left-hand corner.
And this, so York getting themselves back into the game. Hingano pulling the strings, getting them over in the corner, and then Wakefield just hitting back, just putting their mark back on the game, getting under control. McGilvery provide a turn scorer. And then this in the second half, after almost 40 minutes scoreless, Max Jarrett, that little bit of class, that's why he's the man of the match.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think he's had his fingerprints on most of the good things and good moments in this game, so yeah, deservedly getting the man of the match.
So Wakefield, 20 points to 4 winners this afternoon here on the Sportsman. Brilliant to be able to give you Betfred Championship action live and exclusive. Plenty more to come. This is the first game of 6 in 6 weeks. It'll take us all the way through to the Championship Grand Final on the 20th of October. We'll wait to see if Wakefield are in that Grand Final, but the signs are certainly looking good for the West Yorkshire club. And the player of the match, Max Jowett, we can hear from him now with Paul Kidd.
Well, Max, first of all, many congratulations there. It was a tough game out there, but you managed to get yourself the player of the match.
Yeah, it was tough. We knew York were going to come after us. We spoke about it all week. I think since Mash has taken over at York, I think he's done a really good job. I think he's got them fired up. And, you know, I've just said then it's a completely different team to what we played at the start of the year. You know, they came after us, they were hungry, they were hunting hard from the inside, they made it difficult for us. It's probably one of his toughest games this year. And, you know, the team that's pushing for the playoffs, and, you know, I think they'll do really well at the back end of the season.
Well, as you say, it was a real tough battle out there, but from a personal point of view, you got yourself 1 try and obviously 3 goals. It was a great all-round performance. Started off at full-back and then ended up in the halves.
Yeah, it's nice to be back at full-back, my natural position. You know, I've enjoyed my time at half-back, but, you know, I like it back at full-back. That first try, you know, we sort of game planned them. They defend quite tight, and, you know, I thought we could shift the ball on them and get round them. And, yeah, luckily enough we did that, and then Big T goes down the sideline. Luckily enough I pushed and supported inside, and, you know, that's what I like to do at full-back. And, yeah, a couple of goals, you know, I missed a couple. I wish I'd knocked them over, and yeah, a couple of assists as well, so overall happy.
And looking at the season, Max, overall, obviously you came into the Championship this season. Did you think for 1 minute at the beginning of the season that you would actually be breaking the club record for total points in the season at a great club like Wakefield, and the goals in the season as well? Just how good does that feel to be the player that's broken that record?
Yeah, it's a bit surreal. You know, obviously we set as individual goals at the start of the season, and obviously one of mine was try and win Player of the Year, and, you know, I never sort of have put down, you know, breaking Neil Fox's records, and, you know, they're sort of untouchable for 60 plus years, and, you know, it's not something I looked at the start of the year, it's just something that I've looked at back end of the season, and, you know, I've been lucky enough to break that, and it helps with a good team around me, big middle scoring tries under the post, and making my life a lot easier. And yeah, I'm just trying to do my job week in, week out, and, you know, I think the coaching staff we've got here at Wakefield this year and the backroom staff, you know, they've all been amazing, and they've helped me develop as a player, and I think I've really kicked on this season.
Max, congratulations once again. We'll bring you your colleague Luke Gale, who's smiling away there.
It's like mine.
Luke, first of all, that was a great team performance. Max was saying there what a tough battle you've just been in there.
It was. I've not been in for the last 4 weeks, and I reckon I'll feel that one in the morning. Real tough battle. Credit to York, that's a different team to what we faced earlier on in the year. Real tough, physical. Thought we started the game great. A couple of repeat sets, 2 early tries, and then just too many yardage errors. And then once you make them yardage errors, you're almost a bit scared to shift the ball and make too many. And it bit us in bum a little bit later on in that game, because we just went a bit one out and York lapped that up and come after us. So yeah, real physical battle, but they're the games you want. You know, we've had a couple of easy ones the last couple of weeks, 60 points, and look, they're the games you want when you're playing week in, week out.
Ahead of today's game, you probably won't be aware of this, but your coach Darryl Powell singled out special praise for the outside backs. But from your point of view, you've had a great game today kicking. Obviously, good half-backs can have good kicking games on the back of a good dominant forward display. Can you just say a few words about your forwards today?
Yeah, look, I think as forwards have been unreal. to be fair, I'd say the forwards were into the outside backs a fair bit in that second half. So no, they're a big set of lads, and look, I think once the wet weather comes in and it's finals footy, kicking game becomes more important. So I thought the kicking game were okay. A couple of loose ones in the second half, which I wasn't happy about, and I just probably lacked a bit of match practice, to be honest. Only had probably 1 or 2 sessions and then he's straight in. So I've been working on that this week, and as I say, fair play to York, and Mash has turned them around. To be fair, as I say, they're a different team to earlier on in the year, and good battle that. Really enjoyed it.
And you mentioned you've been out for the previous four matches, but overall, how have you enjoyed this season in the Championship?
I've absolutely loved it. I heard Max's interview there. The backroom staff, the coaches, the players, the fans, the owners. You look round the place, it's a different place to what it was last year, and it's just been real enjoyable. And I spoke about retiring and stuff like that. I couldn't think of a better way to retire than on the back of this year. I've enjoyed it probably as much as any season I've had, you know. So look, it's been fantastic and a privilege to play for this club.
We've just got Daryl Powell to bring Daryl in now. He's just signing a few autographs over there. Daryl, first of all, many congratulations on that victory. You must be really pleased.
Oh yeah, it's a tough game. It's conditions dictated a fair bit, and we started great, and then I just thought we made a few errors, and York were really physical and put us under pressure. But look, we're pleased to win. I think we knew it was going to be a real tough game for us. We've got a couple of boys coming back into the team, so we've still got that momentum, which we're pleased about.
And prior to the game, you singled out particular praise for your outside backs. They've come up with 4 tries today as well in the backs. You must be absolutely delighted with that.
Yeah, well, we scored from distance first couple of tries, which was some class play there. And then it took us a while then to score points. But yeah, some of the things Max Jowett does phenomenal. He's as good as anybody I've seen, to be honest, with his skill out the back. And yeah, the outside backs did a fair bit of work, but to be honest, the Middles game today, it was raining, it was tough conditions to move the ball, and I thought we made a few too many errors, to be honest. But look, we're pleased to win. We, like I say, we've got a bit of momentum about us. We want to improve on that, and I think there's some lessons from it. But yeah, we're pleased to win again.
You talk about momentum. You've obviously got the League Leaders Shield in the bag. You've got the 1895 Cup in the bag. I guess in all steam ahead now, ahead of the playoffs.
Yeah, 2 games left, all games at home, so that's great. Our fan base is class, they've been really supporting as well. And yeah, good opportunity for us now to build. We've got 2 left, as I said, then we're into playoffs and knock out Rugby League, so good opportunity. I think we're good enough to take it, but we're going to have to work hard and tidy up a couple of bits there from today, but overall we're in a great position.
And just finally, you raced into that 12-0 lead today. Following that 12-0 lead, is that the sort of arm wrestle that you want heading into the playoffs? You've been in some sort of arm wrestle from that 12-0 lead. Is that what you were looking for going into the playoffs?
Yeah, well, I wanted us to step up today, and we had to do, really, from a physical perspective. They've got 2 half-backs who are pretty smart and put you under pressure, and the pack's been playing great. They come after you with some great intent, and it created that sort of arm wrestle, which you're going to find, some of the teams that are in there, real big physical packs. And they were good today. I think they've really improved York, so well done to them. It was a great game.
Daryl, thanks for joining us. Best of luck for the rest of the season.
So there we have it. A good day of the office in the end for Wakefield Trinity as they march on towards the grand final, just as the clouds finally break above us and we get a hint of the sun pour rolling. Look, bigger days to come from a Wakefield perspective. They know they're in the playoffs. They know that they're going to get a shot to make it to the grand final. But they will be pleased with the way that they've got themselves through this afternoon.
Yeah, it's a job done, isn't it? I think you've got to always remember Wakefield are the team, aren't they? They're the X-Factor team in the Championship. So every team that they come against, they're going to see the best version of that. And without being disrespectful to York, it's more of a cup final for everybody that plays against Wakefield, so the motivation's there, the enthusiasm, and they probably give another 10% than what they would normally do in a normal fixture. For Wakefield, they've just been clinical and processed about how they've gone about the business, and like I said before, it's a job well done from Wakefield's perspective.
But from a York angle, you can see how they've managed to turn things around. There were the ingredients in there of a performance that as you say, against other teams in this division, probably would have got them over the line. They're running out of games in terms of that race for the playoffs and trying to secure themselves in there, but there's plenty they can take out of that.
Oh, they've had a really successful year, and like you say, I think in particular the coaching team, that they've got a really smart coaching team who's done a fantastic job on them. And you know, you could see what they was trying to achieve against the Wakefield team, and in the majority of occasions they'll be playing against teams that are pretty much on the level that they're at in terms of physicality and you know, not full-time players. So you know, they've done a great job, and whether they make playoffs or not, it's been a successful season for them and their coaching team in particular.
Well, Rolls, thank you for joining us. Your Salford team, of course, are in the playoffs, so best of luck over the next few weeks. I'm sure we'll see you soon. Anyway, thank you for joining us here on The Sportsman. A really entertaining 80 minutes of Betfred Championship action, and we've got plenty still to come over the next 6 weeks. This, the first game of 6. We're off to League One next week for a playoff game, and have all the details of that confirmed very, very shortly. We've got the last tackle, of course, as ever, 6 o'clock on a Wednesday. Eddie Hemmings and Paul Sculthorpe in the studio this week. And as I say, we will get our details confirmed of our next stream very, very shortly. So keep your eye out across social media. But until then, we'll see you next time.
That is a remarkable finish.
Burke goes for the corner, and Leah Burke's in. And it's Tamsin Renew. The pass from Holly Dodd.
And this could be the first goal of the game, because London are going to get there and touch down. He's gone for the same ball, and it's going to work.
Beautiful.
They might score the winner. And North Wales have another.
Brings it up to the line, drops it off to Hazard, who reaches through.